Good morning, everybody. It's me, Teri Hunter. It is Sunday, October 22nd, September. Where am I? I hope everybody is well. I kind of wanted to just start this morning and say that, oh my God, I literally turned my phone off and I don't know why it will not stop dinging. I turned the power off and here it is, bing, bing, bing. I don't know what to do. Small Wildflowers, if you're on yet, I apologize. I don't know what to do. Let me try turning my sound down and tell me if you can actually still hear me, okay? Let me do that. Can you hear me speaking? Hello? Can you hear me speaking? Can you hear me? You can hear me. Okay, maybe this will stop the dinging then. That's what I'm going to try to do. Thank you so much. I am not by any means a technological wizard. I'm not even an apprentice. In fact, I'm not even in the wizardry school. I have Neptune in Scorpio conjunct my Mercury, and that's how that rolls. All right, so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some things. I wanted to talk about how I perceive this YouTube channel, because I'm not sure I'm trying to teach y'all anything. I'm not sure I'm trying to enlighten you so much as I'm just trying to share. I want to share my perceptions, my journey, because I think that astrology and the divine laws of the universe and how we are co-creators within our own lives is a super important dynamic. So when I look at the astrology chart, I don't necessarily think things are happening to me as much as on some level, I have agreed to walk through a situation to foster balance. Many of you call it a healing. I don't like to call it a healing because I am not broken. So it's just a matter of awareness. So I want to offer it this way because I'm going to go through some of the aspects this week. And frankly, I think the outer planets are really having a much stronger influence than we realize because they're all standing in their signs with their hands on their hips saying, I'm not really moving right now. I'm not going to move until I have taken my time to absorb this situation, to observe what it has to offer me through its divine disruption. Saturn sitting at 0 degrees, Pluto's at 27 degrees, making a sextile to Neptune retrograde, and Neptune is also making a sextile to Uranus retrograde. Jupiter is retrograde, and the movement is so incredibly slow that it is requiring us to dig deep where our fears are, where our trepidations are, where we hold ourselves back. So this week was my birthday. I think you all know that. And I spent my birthday, for the first time in my life, hiring an attorney to represent me because of these renovations. And in that moment, or in the moments that have been going on for me, Pluto and Saturn, I've had to ask myself what I'm willing to do in order to stand in integrity for who and what I am. And how much will I cave in Pluto to power and control and dominance and criminal behavior? I was bullied quite a bit this week and intimidated and being told that I was not grateful for the opportunities I created for myself. Now, I could give away my power and be like, oh, you're right. I'm so lucky that I have these opportunities. But no, I'm a believer in the divine laws of the universe. And for the first time in my life, I decided to stand up for myself and let the consequences be what they may. So if for some reason you don't see that blue wall behind me in the subsequent months, we know something's happened. But in the meantime, I'm not taking no more gruff. I'm not rolling over, and I'm not going to war. I'm going into the Libra energy of balance. And the South Node transiting Libra is asking me, is being Miss Nice Nice really serving everybody's story? Is trying to always foster cooperation where you're not getting cooperation back, really a divine energy, or is it fear in disguise? Because that's what I think is going on. So let's talk. Saturn this week is at 0 degrees retrograde, preparing for its forward motion in early November. It will make a trine to the sun today and tomorrow, but it's also making a trine to Mercury, 0 degrees Scorpio. Saturn, old thoughts, history, government, authority, restriction, trining Mercury. Mercury in Scorpio, offering me an opportunity to dig deep into what I believe and what is my actual psychology of mistakes. Meaning, when I say mistakes, I mean, where do I believe that I have made mistakes that I have to pay for, that good things don't happen to me easily? I think this is what's going on, because there's Saturn representing that endurance and Mercury representing my everyday activities, my thoughts, and all of these things. I say that because within each of our lives, these disruptions are, I really think, inevitable. And we can either have them victimize us in the situation, or we can turn that into an opportunity to walk through an experience that gives us a fear-busting moment. You know, the peaceful warrior. Exactly. That's exactly what I became. Rather than trying to bang my head against the wall and infuse logic and evidence into a situation, I hired an attorney on my behalf, because I realized that unless I come at this from a more structured place, Pluto up against Pluto, Saturn up against Saturn, rules, regulations, that I wasn't going to get anywhere. And I still don't know if I'm going to get anywhere. But what I do know is I've had enough. Now, that also correlates to Aries and the North Node. Aries being the sister of Mars, the one who stands up for the underdog, the one who stands up for what she believes, in the sign of self, Aries, and conjunct the North Node, an experience we're stretching for. So I think this is super, super, super powerful. I also think that, okay, so there's Neptune retrograde in Pisces, right? And it's making sextiles to Uranus and Pluto. Unexpected disruptions illuminate whether you're going to escape or whether you're going to trust your connection to the spirit and to all that is, and your divine focus that will be more powerful than any human on the earth. So this is, I think, this is something that is starting to tee up experiences that I think is a theme for the end of 2023. Now, at the same time this week, we have Venus at 12 degrees Virgo, making a trine to Jupiter retrograde at 12 degrees Taurus. So we'll have an exact trine this week. Venus represents our money. Jupiter represents wealth. We also see Venus representing my self-worth and Jupiter representing justice. I could not believe that in all my musings, Jupiter's retrograding, and it's about, 5 degrees from my moon right now, maybe less, 3 degrees at 12. I'm a 9-degree Taurus moon. I never thought that my femininity was going to be assaulted and would require me to implement Jupiterian legal matters in order to find justice. So this whole, what I'm trying to bring forth is really unexpected things that you would not normally put in your human experience could show up. And the showing up of the experience is not about the experience. It's illuminating a place you're holding yourself small, or you don't feel valuable, or you feel like if you're not a good girl or a good boy, that the hammer is going to come down on you. And it might be just the opposite. So I really want to offer that, because tomorrow the sun is going to move into Scorpio. And Scorpio rules not only that dominance, that power over us through money and sex, it also rules the psychology with which, how we process that control. You know, whether we acquiesce to it and shrink, whether we fight to the point we look like a crazy person, or we find balance in between. There's so much going on right now. It's almost like fritzes my brain out a little bit. Because as I've walked through this week, it's required so much self-reflection about how I handle ageism. How do I handle a new generation treating me invisibly? How do I handle being a feminine energy up against all male energies who think I should be grateful for the opportunities I've created for myself, where I'm being told to bow down to something that I actually is my legal right. So it's huge, because I think that this dynamic is what's setting up Pluto moving into Aquarius for all of us. And many of us, as we stand in these liberating moments of rebellion, because Uranus's influence in Taurus is going to be rebellion about our money, rebellion about our history, rebellion about, our skills, what we think about ourselves, tons of it. And as we stand there, much of us could, or many of us could walk through this in a way that gives us a certain awareness that truly does rise like the phoenix, gives us that opportunity for Pluto to do what it does best, create great abundance as we are willing to confront and address and to forgive and to extract wisdom from that which has up until now oppressed us and made us feel fearful. So, all right. Breathing, breathing, breathing. Today is the last day of Libra. Technically, I think maybe it's the 23rd if you're in another part of our world. But we're gonna round out with Libras today, and tomorrow we start with our Scorpios. But I'd like to wish Scorpio a happy birthday, and I'd like to wish my late born Libras a happy birthday. What you will and have felt for the last few years is Pluto's influence squaring your sun, and I think that being my Mars is being squared. My sun has kind of gotten a little reprieve, but I want to offer it this way because this is a very, very palatable energy, and it can feel very, very intimidating in some ways. So call upon your guides, call upon your angels to give you an experience that anchors in a deeper truth, that gives you the power to align with your team of heavenly hosts to bring you blessings and bring you miraculous solutions that your human mind might not be able to fathom right now. Because it's those experiences that are going to start to tip the scales, and we'll start to see much more of a triumph during what appears to be disruption. So, all right, let's start with our Libras. Happy birthday again. And our tarot card is the Strength card. Now, oftentimes, we immediately see the Leo, the lion. We see an energy of gentility. We see that this woman appears to be abundant with what she's wearing, not only the crown on her head, but the abundance that is on her, her tunic, for lack of a better term, her dress here. It's in where we see that abundance is in this power center, all in the gut area. And I want to offer this because one of the main energies of the Strength card is fortitude, being able to move forward gently without expectation of an outcome and pushing it. And I think that gentility is part of what that infinity symbol is that as you focus in on the solution versus the challenge. And I want to offer it this way because the solution isn't this comes into place or that gets fixed or that guy apologized. The solution is an emotional thing. How do I feel about the solution? I feel valued. I feel acknowledged. I feel vindicated. I feel accepted, whatever your terminology is, because that is what I think Libra is stretching for. With the South Node going through your first house, it is very much asking you to be egoless in putting yourself first, instead of acquiescing to somebody else and hoping they're fair and diplomatic about it. This is the biggest challenge in a Libra dominant energy, is that this peace and harmony is not actually fostered in balance, but fostered from a place of deficit. So now the universe is offering you the landscape to rise up against that deficit and stand on solid ground. So let's see what the angels have to say. Is that a microphone, Stephen? Are we dropping the mic? Thanks, everybody, for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. Okay. Our first angel is Isaiah. The second is Akasha. The third is Fiona. And the final is Isabella. This is Libra rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Isaiah is being joined by the horse. Akasha is being joined by the stag. Fiona is being joined by the letting go card. And Isabella is being joined by the serpent. So Libra, what I want to really offer is the strength card here today is not about strength, sucking it up, holding your breath, enduring. The strength is a gentility and a trust and a willingness to go the distance in believing that the universe will provide a solution. And the lion here represents you, your self-expression, what's important to you, the things of the fifth house, how you feel your value in the world. And here Isaiah is giving life to new ideas and saying you're being protected. The new ideas could be that look at this horse, okay? I kind of look at it as Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius rules the connection to the angelic realm. So there's me turning over on some level the outcome. Libra, turning over the outcome of a situation to God and the angels, whether the situation be a relationship with your lover, your siblings, your parents, your co-workers, whatever is going on right now, because this horse also feels like it rules that delegating of authority to another person, but also if you're stepping into your power. And Sagittarius rules the judicial system. So this giving life that if you engage protection or you engage a higher court or higher education or a diverse new idea to a situation, you will be protected. And in some place, this is about having the endurance. And I hate to use the word endurance because that feels too Capricorn-y. Having the fortitude, having the willingness to gently walk down a path of unknowing while you're continually connecting with spirit for that protection, because Akasha is the spiritual teacher. And here is you, Libra, stepping up to a new level of leadership through your own experiences, where you've put yourself in a position of priority. And because of that, the universe is rewarding that. Here's Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And there's that letting go card, which we know after all the years you guys have been hanging out with me, it's funny how some distance makes everything look small. And the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits, to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. And there's the 44, the building of a new foundation, the number of the master builder. Now, here it is. Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right for this new situation. And here's healing and knowledge, the shedding of a new skin. It's almost as if as Libra engages a higher power. In some cases, it may be a higher power in the physical realm, but it also is engaging a higher power on the other side to support your endeavors, support your intentions and your focus. I think this is super, super, super powerful. And as you implement that and you start to feel the human experiences come into your world, you'll have more strength when the world itself starts going wah, 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 and everybody's like, pardon me, sound a little funky, but I didn't have words there. I only had my acting skills. Congratulations. That's very nice. Libra, new moon. Okay, so let's look. Libra moon, and then we just had a new moon eclipse at 21 degrees Libra, the beginning of a new cycle. So that's very exciting. Libra is also very much represents professional partnerships, employment, agreements. I know we associate that with the 6th house, but we go into professional partnerships as well when we get in the 7th house. Everything sort of, nothing is a hard, border. There's always sort of a blending, a blurring. Yes, did I say congratulations? I'm excited. We'll all be sending lots and lots of good love to you. I also want to say this, Katerina, the Libra moon, you might want to look and see, look into that Shapley cluster, because people that have planets, and thanks Audacity Theater for reminding me of that, planets in Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius are very much influenced by that Shapley cluster. And I think it's really powerful, especially for those of us of a certain age, it broadens our view of our life's mission. I think that'll help. Okay, on to our Scorpios. And I'm also going to wish Scorpio happy birthday, since we're in a half week. And this isn't appropriate. Here is the Death card. And this is not to be scared. This is Scorpio, the ultimate transformation. Anybody who comes into this planet with strong Scorpio energy has a soul that has decided to take on a masterclass in this lifetime, to understand the energies of power and control, dominance, to have a very up close and personal experience with the choices of light and dark, and to rise above what has been given, but to what you actually believe in the deepest part of your heart. The king's rules are dead here. And now what is left is faith. And the faith that you have created and you have developed as you have walked through the South Node going through your first house. You know, that South Node is triggering habitual habits of belief, of behavior, of disempowerment, or of dominance out of fear. That's one of the sketchy sides of Scorpio is, you know, oftentimes it's unconsciously dominant out of fear or controlling or, you know, intense and brooding. And when there's an awareness that that fear is actually the key ingredient to feeling powerful, that's where the phoenix rises. I also want to offer this for my Scorpios because we don't talk about it a lot. This totem is always the scorpion. But if we look, there is the eagle that very much represents the Scorpio energy and was more a totem in ancient times. So I want to offer that because the eagle is a strong totem. It's very broad-sided, is the connection to the angelic realm. It is a regal and royal energy and an animal on this earth. So I want to offer you that. So as you step into your power, you become, you know, like King Arthur, a benevolent and loving leader through your actions, not necessarily your words. All right, let's see what Spirit wants you to know this week. Your ruling planets are both in play, but Pluto, more than anything, your dominant ruling planet, is, you know, there in Capricorn, blowing up the structures, those last few degrees of Capricorn. Fears, trepidations, concerns, anywhere imbalance has dominated your life experience to the point where it feels like there's nothing you can do about it. All right, here we go. Scorpio, our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Indriel, the light worker. The third is Shanti, the angel of peace. And the final is Daniel, the angel of relationships, partnership in relationships. And Archangel Uriel is one of the more subtle archangels because he deals with anger and frustration and unforgiveness. And the reason his energy feels subtle is because the density of those angry energies blocks the ability to feel the wisdom behind it. So this could be a death to your unforgiveness, your anger, your frustration. Archangel Uriel is being joined by Merlin, which represents alchemy, justice, and balance. Indriel is being joined by the Wind Fairy, representing your thoughts. Shanti is being joined by the Love card. That's wonderful. And Daniel's being joined by the Frog. So for my Scorpios, there's absolutely transformation been going on and will continue to go on. I believe that Merlin represents a wisdom to your anger, your frustration, your unforgiveness. And I want to offer it this way because oftentimes a long-standing anger and frustration is really a feeling of invisibility, of not being acknowledged, that has been chronic. And this is an opportunity to actually look at yourself and say, am I acknowledging myself? Am I presenting the balance? Am I viewing myself and acknowledging the journey I've been on and the awarenesses I've been fostering for myself that have empowered me through this divine disruption? Because this death card, while it is not an easy energy, it is an energy that all strong Scorpio influences have invited into the soul's experience in order to break up anything that is holding them back. And oftentimes, this is the mind that has been imprinted through the childhood experience and through all the experiences that you've had as a soul incarnating in the various realms. So here is an opportunity for Scorpio to make a choice to turn towards their light versus turning towards the experiences that they know they have had and they can hang on to, which then inadvertently draws in magnetic thoughts that support that disruption. Because what the angels want Scorpio to do or to be is to start to foster a sense of tranquility, to start to look for the divinity, look for the relief, look for the love within what has been disruptive, what is being offered. Daniel, the angel of marriage and the frog, is an emotional cleanup about the history of relationships and partnerships. And I don't necessarily just want to put those partnerships into the love sector. I feel like your ruling planet Pluto making a sextile to Neptune, and Neptune is also making a sextile to Uranus, is taking my thoughts to a much, more evolved, place. I hate using words that feel judgy, but it's appropriate here because in my evolution, I see the wisdom of the disruption, which then takes Neptune's fog and clears it and allows me to infuse a spiritual dynamic that supports a stronger foundation that I'm building for my future experiences. And I think this is super important. So this may be a very, very powerful solar return for you. I also want to say, and I'll be doing a separate video early this week, because we have the second eclipse in Taurus, and Scorpio and Taurus have been on the eclipse axis. So Scorpio is going to, feel this opposition here in this eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse. So I think this is going to be, again, really powerful for the culmination of a cycle, but it feels like it's a psychological illumination where you have been operating where you thought was in power, but the power was really based on a fear that was so deep that you didn't know it was there. And now that you have an awareness of it, you have a better opportunity to transform it. Okay. Oh boy. So in this document this attorney is writing, I had another moment because I was referred to as an elderly woman. I really get to own that. I think it's kind of comical. And I love sharing these weird things about my life with you because part of this whole thing is because I'm an elderly woman, I feel vulnerable. And then when it's written on paper, I feel a little sting. I guess at 64, you got to own it, right? All right, Sagittarius. Oh, what a beautiful energy we have for you this week. Temperance. And I want to offer you this because when we look at this card, the very first thing we think is balance, right? But balance is not really level. Because if you look at Archangel Gabriel, who is represented on this card, there is one foot in the water and not even strongly flat in the water, and the other's on a rock. And the balance comes from the flow that's going on between the exchange of the water in the cups. And if you look closely, you see that Archangel Gabriel's eyes are closed, because if he were to actually look at how he was standing, he may not feel the balance. The balance comes from a different place. So let's see where we're going, Sagittarius. This card is very rich in its symbolism, because what we see with these closed eyes is the illumination offered outside of the human experience. There's our third eye being accentuated, but we also see that there is a road to go before there is reward. And part of that is the ebb and the flow of being able to traverse these different landscapes. So let's see. Our first angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage and partnership, the history we have within partnership. We have Archangel Gabriel ruling communications and arts. We have Grace and Antoinette, compassion. And I looked at Archangel Gabriel and I thought it's compassion within the communications. And we have Shanti, the angel of peace. We have warring words this week. Mars and Mercury. Mercury is just at 0 degrees today of Scorpio, and Mercury is going to gain some speed. And by the end of the week, Mercury is going to be conjunct Mars in Scorpio. Them's fighting words. And so being aware, having an awareness of the moment and almost feeling your body react in a imprinted historic way, but the choice of how you react, the choice of what you decide to do in that moment, I think is going to be pivotal for your own peace of mind and peace of experience. Because I think it's about taking strategic action versus any sort of a reaction to a situation. Because the situation could throw you off balance. Daniel is being joined by the birth and rebirth card. That's Pluto. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the hawk, which is really very powerful. It's an 11. So it's really, there's signs and omens, but there's also that communication factor. My thoughts are things. What am I focusing in on? Grace and Antoinette as being compassionate for your own fears. Really kind of saying, hey, I'm in this human vessel, man. Fear is it's part of the journey, man. There's no getting around fear. There's no truly even avoiding fear. There's only empowerment through fear. And the awareness of that will help you be brave. Shanti is being joined by the wasp. Wow. Okay, so I got to tell you, I think this week, Sagittarius, you are going to be challenged in your balance. This is Sagittarius rising, moon, sun. And if you have a stellium in Sagittarius in any house, it's going to accentuate this energy, because I think Daniel is historic energy. And there's an opportunity to be rebirthed through this historic energy. If, whatever your story is that is repetitive, there's a theme to it. Within my personal story, I have been known as a hostile energy, that I can be assertive and aggressive, and all those things are very true. But in my own awareness, and having gone through, my Pluto square has been lasting forever, because it's been on my ascendant, on my sun, on my Mars. As I became more and more aware of what my perceptions were, how I was being viewed in the world, the sun, and now my Mars, I've learned how to engage other people, or to approach the situation more strategically versus a reaction of, this is not just, this is not fair, this is not balanced. And in that, I was purporting imbalance, because Archangel Gabriel is helping Sagittarius be more aware of their words, and to be brave in their words rather than to be insecure. Because here are the signs and the omens, an opportunity to rise above the situation and to start to bring in it's not really the breaking of a cycle as much as it's the awareness of a cycle that allows and affords for new ways of communicating, that then transforms the cycle into something that brings even deeper levels of awareness. Because I think Sagittarius is going to become aware of fears they didn't even know they had. And the compassion you have for that human imprint that you don't even know you have is key to the ability to stretch for peace and tranquility, rather than to go back into a place of anger or frustration. And I want to offer it this way, because your ruling planet, Jupiter, that's right. Sorry, all of a sudden, your ruling planet is retrograde in the sign of self-worth, family history. You're using your skills, your money, your security, your sense of self-worth. So I think this is a very powerful time for Sagittarius as you start to really implement the broader minded concepts and philosophies and ideologies, and your awareness that this is going to be infused into all the areas of your life where there is historic partnership issues, whether it be business, education, the legal system, or, always having people who screw you over. And up until now, you've never decided to sue them, but maybe you're going to now. It's all that kind of stuff. So, and I want to offer this because in the final position for my Sagittarius is anger and peace is not a choice between one energy or the other, but a recognition that if something inflames your anger repeatedly, your fear of retaliation, or in any way, diminishes you, that your road to peace comes from your ability to allow and surrender to the rebirth that is being offered. That was kind of what I said to myself. If for some reason, after 20 years of living here, these people take this somewhere and they try to evict me, this is a price that I'm willing to pay in order to stand up for the balance I think is missing right now. And in my life experience, 64 solar returns now, every time I've gotten to a point in a situation where I was no longer fearful, the tides changed. And I found how much value I actually was supplying to the other side that they were not acknowledging because they were holding dominion over me. Going that way. All right, on to our Capricorns. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The King of Wands. This is a very, very, obviously it's a fire sign, right? But it also is a very Sagittarian energy to it. And when, oftentimes when you go to a regular tarot reader, they'll say this is a man who's unavailable because he's looking to the future. He's looking to that which is not in his current experience. And then I always notice this little, I think of it as a chameleon. I don't know if it is a chameleon. It's a lizard. It's a little reptile. And when I look at it, if it is indeed a little lizard, which it could be, every time a lizard loses its tail, it grows back. So as I think Capricorn, because I also want to acknowledge this little thing around, I don't know if you can see this sort of spooky looking thing around his neck, almost looks like a skull. I feel like that could potentially be where this king has felt a sense of potential obligation, duty, maybe even that duty and obligation felt restrictive. And now he's looking to move forward in his life. And I think that's what Pluto's been doing for Capricorn, is sort of illuminating not only your own fears, trepidations, where you are inadvertently feeling powerless because your duty and your obligation to others supersedes your willingness, or you're feeling comfortable putting yourself first. So this is a rewrite of your beliefs. This is a taking authority in some ways of what it is, and looking, I think, for my Capricorns, turning away from what has been that doesn't serve you and opening up to something new that may feel scary because it's so unknown that you can't anticipate how that journey will play out. But at the same time, you have an awareness of your thoughts being things. And as you align your focus and your thoughts to that which you want to experience, I want to feel valued in my work. I want to feel loved and valued and cherished in my relationships. I want to feel a sense of material security on this earth plane as I journey forward. Those statements create a connection to all that is. It starts bringing those experiences into your world, into your everyday life. And then those thoughts become like little magnets. So they get a momentum going that starts to slow down the momentum that the fears had created. So here we go. Capricorn rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Excuse me. Our first angel, is Grace and Antoinette, the angels of compassion. Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right. We have Francesca asking, where is your focus? Are you focused on what can be challenging and not feel good? Or are you focused in on what will feel good? And then we have Shanti, the angel of peace. Holy, clearly this week, those of us that are sitting in awareness are going to be offered an opportunity to be peacemakers in our own world. And, because Shanti's been coming up is way too much. So that's a common theme for the whole week. And I want to say this: peacemakers is not giving up your power to someone else. It's being peaceful as you stand strong in your balanced viewpoint. Eris in Aries right now, conjunct the North Node. The street fighter is only as powerful as her willingness to be aware of her moves. When you're just running around like a banshee, nothing actually gets accomplished. Hey, look at my little pooch. He's doing his favorite, let's knock all the pillows over and dig into the couch. God bless that little man. Hi, Sarah. Hi, everybody. By the way, if I didn't say hello to everybody, good morning. I've been a new version of myself this week. Okay, Capricorn. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Hawk. Isabella is being joined by the Protection card. Francesca is being joined by the Joy card. And Shanti is being joined by the Mystery card. Okay, so for my Capricorns, I have a great empathy because I feel Pluto's transit has really, been a roller coaster ride of epic proportion. Because I feel like every time Capricorn has felt a sense of stability, okay, I got this now. The roller coaster changed directions, went up a hill, down a hill, went around a zip or something. So I want to offer this because I think that this compassion card is really Spirit encouraging you to be gentle with yourself as you traverse being able to see the wisdom, not see the wisdom, see the fear, try to not want to give into the fear, blah, 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 blah. And in doing that, it's just about this giving yourself an opportunity in that awareness to decide if you truly feel connected to your team and protected by them. Because yes, Isabella is saying the timing is right and new happiness awaits you as you see that you are being protected. The Protection card is a 38, which reduces down to an 11. The Hawk is an 11. And the Joy card is a 37 that reduces down to a 10. Your protection comes from the gentility of your thoughts as you continue to refocus them in the direction of what you want versus where you've been. And right now we have 11 likes on today's program. So this seems kind of powerful for Capricorn because in the angel's advice, what will you visualize? Negativity, positivity, you win, you lose. Where will you drop on the scales of the human measuring stick? Because Spirit is encouraging you to focus in on joy, on how it feels when the solution presents itself. Because in order for you to really start to anchor this in, it's time to choose a tranquil life. And that tranquility and that peace does not come from enduring somebody else's agenda of who and what you want to be. One of the biggest challenges is that for Capricorn is they want to build in the material human structure, the 3D world, see what I've built, applaud what I've built. And yet at the same time, that also invites in judgment, criticism, obligation, duty. And so here, I think this is having compassion as you're starting to rewrite the boundaries of that for yourself and delineate between your own your soul structure versus the human structure that's been superimposed upon you. So very powerful and not necessarily easy because, being in the human apparatus, the mind is a muscle. And while oftentimes people will infer that we have control over that mercurial muscle, you really do not have control over it. What you can have is awareness about it. Uh-oh, it's running amok again. That damn imprint, okay. In knowing it's running amok again, how can I foster what I want to experience? Okay, I can look and say, I really like the wall. Yeah, did they do it? Freaking crappy job painting it and give me nothing but shit about it? Yeah. But what I'm going to focus in on is it looks beautiful. And I picked the color and I love it. And so that's where I'm going. All right. Yes, gentle, CC Pups, gentle. Exactly. I hate the words positive and negative. They feel like freaking landmine fields, honestly, because when you know that you're being negative, which obviously, or to me, it serves a purpose, it identifies what I don't like. But trying to be positive when I actually feel negative feels like the worst exercise in resistance. Like it's self judgment. It's gnarly. So I don't really like the word positive. And I'm very aware of my verbiage right now. And while some people may say it's just semantics, I believe it's a vibration. And it's similar to the various notes on the musical scale, because while they may sound similar, they actually vibrate at a different rate. And they only really can you identify the difference in the notes when you get in a full octave. The I don't know what I'm trying to say. The lowest note in that octave and the highest note in that octave. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm going to stop. I'm going to go on to Aquarius. I think you know what I'm trying to say. All right. Here we go. Oh, Aquarius. Isn't this fun? The 10 of Cups. This is a card of happiness. This is a card where the Fool has actually traversed the cup suit and now can celebrate and enjoy all that he has garnished. And I think that this is interesting because while you see it looks like we call it a rainbow, it's focused on three particular colors. The yellow is my power. The blue is my voice. And the pink can represent my heart on some level, the energy of love, because I feel like this is where he has conquered this suit and been able to be aware of his emotional body, the Fool, that is, as he's traveled this suit. And now he's celebrating that awareness because it fills his cups. Let's see what the angels have to say. Because as Pluto, while it's, still in Capricorn, in a very, very few months, it's going to move into Aquarius. And, most people are going to focus in on the dark side of Pluto. On, oh God, will I die? Will someone I love die? Blah, blah, blah. And, having walked through that right now, I feel as if it's really, to me, that I'm not worried about my physical body. This is me being aware of my emotional body. And in that awareness of my emotional body, being much more powerful and an intender of a co-creating experience, because Pluto rules billionaires. Pluto rules a sense of awareness that gives us solace and peace. And we don't focus on that. Pluto's this teeny weeny little planet, right? Way out there in the solar system in the dark all by himself. And all he has is this tumultuous heart that is dominating the face of the planet, at least from our perception here on Earth. And that is this churning, wanting to live from my heart, not from that darkness. All right, Aquarius, here we go. First angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage and partnership. There's Caressa, the end of a life cycle. Here's Omega with victory. And then there's Akasha, the teacher. Well, I did buy expensive paint, CC Pups. I picked it out. I at least tried to order it. God only knows, apparently they did purchase the paint I wanted. What happened is they only purchased a quart. So it was really more about running out of paint that made them be who they were. Okay, Aquarius, Daniel, ruling history in partnership. We have the protection card, which is a 38. Again, that's the 11. Then we have Caressa, who's being joined by the high priestess, Omega, which is being joined by the novice, and Akasha being joined by the harmonious wealth card. This is very powerful because first we see the 10, which offers us a new beginning because it's at the end of a cycle. It's also another card reflecting my thoughts, reflecting how my power comes through my communications. My thoughts are a form of communications to the universe. And now I know how to speak more from loving energy than I do from critical, negative, or historic human energy. because Daniel, the angel of marriage, the angel of the history you have with other people who you love and care about and how they've imprinted you, this could very well be Venus. And there's the 38, a protection. This is an awareness. So the awareness is not trying to eradicate, release, or push aside. It's more about being able to say, does focus on that situation serve me, or does it serve me better to give life to a new dynamic? Because Caressa is saying you're at the end of a life cycle, new happiness awaits you. And this is much more aligned to the soul's energy and what you intended when you incarnated on this planet. And a lot of what's being offered to you is a connection to your inner being, because there is a victory ahead as you embark on something new. And I feel like this is more about how your perception is of who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do in inspired action moving forward. Because Akasha, the teacher card, tells me that you not only have an ability to teach others through your actions, through your innovative way of thinking, but that it creates a more harmonious sense of wealth. And I don't think that's physical money. I think that's also feeling valued as a human here and your contribution to the masses. I think it's really feeling a little bit less alien, like Aquarius can, and more rooted into the experience in a purposeful way. So I think that's super powerful and exciting. Blamello 15, congratulations on your new baby. That's so exciting. When I first got lucky, I was just like a crazy new mom. I made a baby book for him. I have all documentation of his first year, the day he lifted his leg. I love my dog so much. I think he's one of the greatest blessings. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I look down and I say to him, oh my God, I'm so blessed to be able to spend every day. You know, I don't have to drive to a job, and he doesn't have to sleep 8 hours in a house by himself. I mean, it's just really such a blessing. And it's such a beautiful gift from spirit for me to be aware of energy, because I really do feel blessed to be able to have personally and to be able to acknowledge that I co-created this with the universe. All right, Pisces, are you ready? Saturn through your first house. I know it's a little bit tough, but Saturn stationing at that 0 degree, it's like we're being birthed all over again. And here we have the Page of Pisces. This is actually your card. You know, we see the fish in the cup. We see this young energy. You know, he's sort of I find his hand on his hip rather sweet when I look at it. It's as if there's a bit of demure energy as he hands his cup of love. Let's see where we're going with this, because I think Saturn coming into the sign of Pisces was a balancing force, where we can be dreamy and whimsical under Neptune's influence. Saturn is asking us to be very aware of our belief about what we can build on the planet, because it is the belief that is the actual seedling to all manifestation. So if you believe you cannot, you will not. And the wobble that you have along that journey of belief is grandly designed to give you the confidence to know you've triumphed over situations and you are capable. So those disruptive moments are truly divinely implemented for your benefit. Okay, here we go, Pisces. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Hey, Lucy Rose, long time no see. Hi, everybody who's joined the room. All right, Pisces, reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise. Fiona is here. You've asked for God and the angels for help. Now it's time to let them help you, because there's something more on the horizon that you can't see. Crystal is here. And there is Bridget, looking deeper into a situation. As I look at this, I can't help. I just kind of felt like a teenager, falling in love with some boy that I actually knew wasn't really good for me, but I so much wanted to be with that boy that all my focus was on that boy and getting that boy. And yet at the same time, my happiness would not be fulfilled in that relationship. And if for some reason Pisces is offering their cup of love to somebody, and ultimately the relationship, whether it be personal, professional, or otherwise, friendship, etc., then the universe is going to not really fulfill that superficial wish, because the deeper soul wish for experience is greater and stronger than your fear-based wish. That's what I think this Astera is talking about. Let's see. Pisces, Astera is being joined by the communications card. Fiona's being joined by the Raven. Crystal's being joined by the restriction card. And Bridget's being joined by the forgiveness card. I think that Pisces is experiencing some sort of stall, or something is not actually coming to fruition, because if it did come to fruition, it wouldn't actually be what you think it will be or what you want it to be. It will be a muted version of that, because I feel like what Spirit is saying is to continue to speak of that which you want, continue to commune with it at the highest possible level. And I always want to go to how it feels, because if I try to figure out what the stepping stones are to make it happen, oftentimes that trips me up because I don't know where to go. So it feels abundant. It feels accepting of my energy. People are harmonious. They are gracious. I feel a sense of cooperation. I feel valued and cherished in the relationship, etc., etc. Because now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving in the divine timing. When we co-create with the universe, while it would be nice to put your order in and get your burger, expeditiously like we do at In-N-Out, we are working with other humans that are also co-creating. Because right now, I think that Pisces is being tasked to dig deep for a trusting in that which they cannot see. So I want to offer this, because this is a pause, and this is something that has yet to come into fruition. So if you think for some reason, again, Pisces rules Pisces rules places where we spend time alone. Pisces rules a lot of creativity in the form of song, in the form of dance, in the form of photography and visual fantasy. And so if for some reason because I don't want to just make this about one category. I want to make it about your dreams and your desires, Pisces. I want this to be a bigger story than what it may look like when we go into each mundane category, because this restriction card makes me feel like you're imagining something, but the universe is aligning something so much bigger that you couldn't even possibly fathom it. So you're playing the lottery. This is a stupid example. I'm playing the lottery. Oh, I just want to win $1 million. I just want to win $1 million. That'd be so much fun. And then the universe gives you 10 million or 20 million. Because you played the lottery and you're like, shit, man, I could never have thought that was going to happen, because here's Bridget asking you to look deeper into any stalls. So maybe the universe is doing something better for me. Maybe the timing is off. Maybe something's going on that I'm not privy to, because it's going to end up making sense to you at the end of the day. So whatever you're endeavoring, you may have a smaller version of it in your mind right now or in your heart, or you're afraid if you put up a bigger version of it, you wouldn't get it. Like, don't ask for too much. But I think that something bigger is happening. And I think that Saturn has a potential to really bring a strong sense of foundation into that which you long for or dream about. Okay. I know, Lucy Rose, so much is unwritten. So much is coming down to our focus and our choice of focus. Hi, Dr. Linda. It's good to see you in the room. I love cinnamon and cardamom are so good for you. So are you doing that as an aromatherapy? The cardamom and the cinnamon? I recently bought some cinnamon for that very purpose. I'm just waiting to decorate for Christmas. All right. On to our Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Victory. Oh, I like this card. This man has gone to battle, this warrior, and he's coming back and he's being celebrated. Okay, Aries. Now we have, the Aries energy has gotten a little bit quiet because we're mostly talking about asteroids. Chiron is in Aries. Eris has been in Aries for hundreds of years. I think I heard Pam Gregory say it's a 580 or 80-year cycle in a sign. And then, of course, the North Node has entered Aries. All of this to me is speaking to this willingness. The wound that Chiron would represent in Aries is the wound of self. Am I seen? Am I acknowledged? Am I only seen as a warrior? Does no one see my heroic energy? Does no one see how I bring bounty back from battle? And that might be part of why Aries feels resentful sometimes. So I think that there's something kind of bigger here, because I think as you start to become aware of the North Node offering you an opportunity to stand in brave, balanced energy, I kind of think of Eris like standing still, like, okay, it's nighttime, the street's all wet, and we're about to have a battle, right? And well, the other guys just hopped up. Eris is like this. I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm collected. And then all of a sudden someone tries to get her from behind and she's like, bam, because she's operating from a place of great awareness. And that's what makes her victorious. This is all happening in the house of Aries right now. So you have an opportunity to be super, super powerful, but it comes from this really willingness not to react, but to take strategic action that will make you victorious. All right, first angel for Aries is Shanti, the angel of peace. The second is Fiona. Now that you've asked God and the angels for help. Chantal is the angel of love. And then we have Ariel, connection to spirit. Shanti is being joined by the forgiveness card. Fiona is being joined by balance, Merlin. Chantal is being joined by the serpent, and our Ariel is being joined by the truth. Okay, I think for my Aries, this is a real beginning of a chapter where you are no longer just seen as aggressive or harsh or brooding or intense or all those negative keywords they associate with. I believe that this victory card is you being victorious over your own instincts and being a strategic warrior. And now this peace card, this is an inner peace through what you've been through the battles you've been through. And now you're starting, because this is what I want to say. Aries, your ruling planet Mars is hanging out with Mercury in Scorpio. I think there's the potential that this particular week you could very much get triggered or baited into heated words that then affirm you're a hothead, not easy to deal with. But I think that you're smarter than that now. I think you know more about yourself and about others. And I think that you will not take up your arms, but rather foster peace. And if that peace is just keeping your mouth shut and not reacting or responding to a situation, that may be where your greatest power lies. Because Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, the baton is in their hand. And Merlin is offering alchemy, justice, and balance. And the justice would be that you are actually a very loving energy. But nobody ever focuses on that because it's all about the self. And the human structure tells you that if you love yourself, you're conceited, you're a narcissist, you're a sociopath, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, Teri doesn't buy that, because loving of self is where the healing begins. The honoring of self is where the new beginning is offered. And spirit is putting that on the table, because that is the deeper truth. The deeper truth is that you are a spiritual warrior by nature, and you have come onto this planet to foster and to nurture the self so that others may experience their own powers of co-creation. There is the truth, and you will have victory this week, or you will start to feel the victory within yourself that will then materialize in the outer world in the months that come. I really think that the end of 2023 has more nonsense and disruption on the books for us to experience as we transform. Okay. Here we go into our Taurus energy. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Audacity Theater had a reading with me recently. I think she liked it. Okay, astrology reading, by the way. All right, here we go. For my Tauruses, could this be more your energy? The Knight of Pentacles. There's no real action in this card. There's steadiness. There is almost a willingness to stop and survey the landscape. We could infer stubbornness. We do see that with the Taurus energy, but I don't see the legs on the horse as so rigid that they're not willing to move. I feel as if the horse is standing on green grass because it wants to have fertile ground to walk on. If the knight was moving forward, there would be this sort of what looks like sand, not quite the road that he wants. So he's trying to figure out how to avoid this obstacle and get onto the next path. So let's see. I have a Taurus moon at 9 degrees, Lucy Rose. I think this is very powerful because that Taurus eclipse will be within, 5 degrees of your moon. It will be within 4 degrees of my moon. And I think that this is the culmination of a cycle of no more disempowerment, no more feeling a lack of value, no more being afraid to use my voice, to stand in balance for my truth, and trusting my ability to nurture myself by allowing my intuition to supersede my human fears. And Taurus has fears. That's why it rules insecurity. I need to have money and I need to know where that money is so that I'm safe on the planet. And yet money is like air. It really comes and it goes. Okay, here we have Astera, Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and don't compromise. Vanessa, will you make your decisions based on faith or fear? Jupiter, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't force it. And Bethany is about self-care. We have Astera being joined by Merlin, justice, balance. Vanessa's being joined by the Wind Fairy. Azure's being joined by the Burden card, and Bethany is being joined by the Butterfly. What I think here is that, one of the things about all the earth signs is that I want to see it in the material world. I know that I'm a spiritual being. I know that I'm connected to a bigger source, but I didn't come into the physical experience to look outside of my body, but actually experience my body, my skills, my voice. And when I say my voice, I mean my power to speak for myself, my individuality, my individual beliefs. Because Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. This is not to speak of your dreams and desires, but to trust the magic of your dreams and desires and your focus, connection to the angelic realm, connection to source energy, connection to the force. Because here you are in the midst of identifying how your brain has been imprinted and whether you make decisions based on faith or fear. And the human is not designed, it is not nurtured to make decisions based on faith. Merlin is a 1. The 29 reduces down to an 11, which is the master number of thought. More and more as we move into this period of time when Pluto is going to move into Aquarius, and then a couple of years later, Gemini is going to experience Uranus's energy in it. Our thoughts are up for renovation and reframing. So while it's a burden right now for you to see that you're being cared for, that God and the angels, because Taurus wants to make things happen. It wants to plow the fields. It wants to see, where do I make the next move? And this may feel like a burden, but at the same time, your power comes not in from making a physical move, but making a intentional connection to spirit, to trust that you will be inspired into the next move. Because Bethany is about self-care, and the butterfly is about walking through that scary experience of the caterpillar and coming out a transformed being with much more beauty and sight. I really honestly was like a little bit blown away by the idea of the transits last week, because in all my musings of my solar return, I could never have imagined that I would, be brave enough to engage an attorney and to put my home environment on the line for what I feel is in unfair and discrimination and literally bullying and intimidation. And yet at the same time, I've never felt so brave. Yes, I've been scared for most of this week, sleepless, up and down, fighting my own fears, trying to surrender. And at the same time, here I am days later, having made a decision, having put money that, is not expendable on the line for this decision. And at the same time, that decision, which felt so threatening, is the only thing that's given me a sense of peace. Okay, Gemini, the King of Swords. No, Lucy Rose, I had a renovation done, and now I'm going to be in a legal situation as a result of it. Gemini, the King of Thought, the King of Justice, the King of Introspection from a more intellectual perspective rather than from an emotional one. Let's see where we're going here, because the King of Swords can also represent justice. And when we look at the card, you can see this butterfly representing that Pluto transformation, and then these moons flanking that transformation. There comes a time when trusting your heart is the most logical step. And Gemini, in the twins bit, will go back and forth looking for the process, the mercurial aspect to make it, yes, no, what, and that's when we sort of got to push that indecision aside and go, what's here? Because what is here is clear. It's when we get into the feasibility through our eyesight, through our human experiences, where the indecision comes in. Because if we've never created an experience that is aligned to our deeper part of our heart, we don't know if it can happen. And we base by default that it will not happen. Okay, here we go, Gemini. Your first angel is Athena, lovingly asserting yourself. Shanti, the angel of peace, comes here again. We see her today a lot. Daniel, the angel of marriage and partnership and history. And then we have Isaiah. There's a guy that lives in this building who is so fearful that the woman next door has grown hedges that are becoming a fortress and completely blocking his view. And he is so afraid of retaliation from the landlords that he will not ask them to have her trim the bushes, which if he went to the city would be a no-brainer, because you're not allowed to block the view here in Laguna. This period of time in the stars is about fear and intimidation. It's about power and control over us and how that's been imprinted upon us. And Gemini, I think that's showing up here for you, because Athena's being joined by the restriction card, so your power is being thwarted. Shanti is the angel of peace, but the peace comes through a deeper truth. Daniel, the angel of marriage, is asking you to focus in on the kind of relationships you want that foster balance, fairness. And then we have Isaiah being joined by the movement card. This very much feels as if there is because if we think about this king's energy, we could very much put the Libra imprint upon it. Libra is squaring Pluto right now. Yes, it's the later degrees, but for quite a while, we've been squaring this, that we've had this energy of the rules, the regulations, the authorities, Capricorn, squaring fairness and justice and diplomacy. So there's been a breaking up. So now I think that this is an opportunity for my Geminis to see the duplicity sometimes in their contemplation. And if they default to, there's too many cons versus pros, the pros won't have as much power if I assert myself, because I think this assertion is not about yelling at somebody. This assertion is going to spirit and saying, I'm powerless over this situation in the physical right now. And I want you to start to illuminate a direction for me, because it's been blocked because there's something that is deeper. There's a deeper truth to how your peace feels. And I think on some level that mercurial energy is looking at your deeper truth sort of on a more like, sound bites, short bits, and I feel like there's a little bit deeper of taking what my history is and using it as the contrasting tool. So if I've experienced uncooperative relationships or where I've over delivered and other people have sort of sat on their laurels, their loins, whatever, then my truth and the peace comes from me saying to spirit, I want to experience work dynamics, interpersonal relationships, peace within my community. And when I do, it feels like this. I feel acknowledged. I feel valued. I feel vital. I feel flow. I feel a sense of abundance. Because here is an opportunity for a new beginning and to know you're protected by spirit, but you're still in a gestation period. And this gestation period will offer movement that will bring in a more just and fair and aligned experience for you. And for some reason, I'm really going into Gemini's work dynamic. I really feel like there's changes going on there. It doesn't mean you have to change the actual job, but there could be changes around or things that restructure situation that bring more fairness and more acknowledgement of your value. Okay, on to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And we have the King of Pentacles. This is such a lovely card because it represents so much material bounty. And yet we see this character, he's not looking at his bounty. So when I see this, I almost feel as if the bounty comes because he has a sense of ease. He's sort of looking out at the distance. We don't know whether he's looking at a beautiful sunset, but whatever it is, he is not getting up. There's no real movement again in this energy. We see the Taurus bulls up on his throne. We see the pomegranates on his crown. So this person has amassed material security, material wealth, and resources that feel flowy to me. They don't feel as if as there's any lack, which gives him an ability to look out into the future, to muse about his future. All right, so Cancer, let's see how this plays out. Yeah, there really is. Even to the point where there's a foot here. You can see his foot here. And this almost looks like a rock, but it also looks like there's the potential for this to be a bit of a menacing energy. It's a kind of a mind meld. Okay, here we go. Cancer, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Maya, the angel of education. Then we have Mystique, to keep charging ahead. Azure, your desired outcome is coming to fruition. Don't force it. And Fiona, the baton is in spirit's hands. It's, when you're in the human structure, it really is not necessarily the easiest road as we begin to trust our greater intentions, because when I say trust our greater intentions, I mean trusting a connection with spirit that supports our soul's intentions versus what our human body intends. Because the soul's intention offers a certain amount of disruption, because that disruption creates a stronger platform and resources when there is the next human disruption to believe in conquering it or to be victorious over it. So here, while Taurus rules, this is the Pentacles, I'm on the sign of Cancer. Taurus, like Cancer, has an underbelly of insecurity. So I think what Maya is doing is teaching you how to continue to move forward based on your faith, on your intuition, on your inner knowing. You are ruled by the moon. The moon for Teri Hunter is the most powerful influence because we are emotional beings. So the moon and the moon's nodes are of maximum influence. Maya is being joined by the transformational swan. The swan is trusting my intuitive gifts. Cancer. Mystique is being joined by the truth. Keep charging ahead to that deeper inner knowing, that inner truth. Azure, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. But this is joined by the risk card. Literally, Cancer is risking believing that all the things that the other humans on this planet will tell you is foolish. Oh, that's nonsense. That whole thoughts are things is nonsense. Trusting in the magic, trusting in the universe to bring you what you want. You got to work hard. You got to pound the pavement. You got to prove it to the rest of the world. Cancer, you can't prove it to the rest of the world the way they want it. So as you believe more in yourself and trust in your own inner knowing, that becomes the risk. That when you bet on it, you will win, because Fiona is telling you God and the angels are here bringing to fruition your desires. And that brings forth a new life for you, and one where you're able to implement healthy boundaries in other people's opinions of how you manifest the things you want in your life. I live alone, and I imagine that if I had a partner and they came home in the middle of the day and found me laying on the couch or laying on my bed, they'd say, "What are you doing? Get up, do something, be productive." And I'd be like, "I'm meditating." They'd be like, "Get up and do something." And to me, that meditation, that spending time communing with God and the angels about my desires is the most powerful time, because that is where I say to spirit what I want, and then I stand in faith of inspired action from there. So when this whole week started and I was being bullied, my instinct was to call an old boyfriend and to tell him my woes. His son is an attorney, and I went to the cards and I said to spirit, what do I need to know? And I got the wait card. Wait, there's information coming to you. And then I had many sleepless nights this week, and in one of them, all of a sudden, a client who I hadn't worked with in 3 years had booked a half hour the previous week. And she happens to be an attorney. And that's where I felt it was the inspiration to reach out to that woman who has a personal relationship with me, who, I've read for her. And so I chose her as the representation versus this other person who would be doing it as a favor and has no experience with me. So the reason I tell you this is because when you start to look in your personal world, you may be looking for resources that aren't really aligned to a deeper truth. And Cancer, being able to wait just a wee bit and get that inspired energy will help align you to an outcome that is more what you're looking for, and then more solid as represented by the King of Pentacles. Okay, Leo, this is not an easy energy. This is the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is an energy of loss and sorrow, and the character is so focused on what has been lost that the character cannot see what still remains. And yet this loss provides an illumination. It's very much how I perceive the 8th house, where something traumatic happens and it kind of compels us into re-examining our beliefs and re-examining our actions based on those beliefs. Let's see where we're going with this. Because as Venus was traversing your first house for 4 months in 2023, a lot of it would bring up your relationships, your intimate relationships. But I think more so Venus was bringing up the relationship you have with yourself, your heart, and your courage to implement the things of your heart that your personality and your ego feel trepidation about or unsureness about. And I feel as if the focus on your self-worth then sort of creates sort of this stretching energy going out into many areas of your life, not just your love life, not just romance, but other things, your truest wants and desires. Our first angel is Desiree, saying conditions aren't favorable. The second is Fiona. God and the angels are on this task. Something is happening where this is an opportunity to wait for inspired action as they are moving the chess pieces. Will Leo base their decisions on faith or fear? Fear. Oh no, and Bridget, looking deeper. This is a big week for you because I kind of want to look at it this way. There's no active planets in Leo right now that I can think of. I think what is going on is absorbing. Virgo is your second house. Venus is in Virgo right now. We see that when we go into your fourth house of Scorpio, we'll see a lot of energy going on there. And I want to offer it this way because this could be a week where Mercury and Mars has you feeling at war, and war with on the home front. And this could be where siblings have come up, old dynamics with siblings, or even because Mercury rules so many things, it could just be a lot of disruptive communications. Desiree is being joined by the Risk card. Fiona's being joined by the High Priestess. Vanessa's being joined by the King. And Bridget's being joined by the Fear card. I really believe for Leo, this is a week that physical action might not be the greatest line of attack, but rather to reassess a situation as to what is still available to you, and if indeed what you perceive as a loss is truly indeed a loss, because you're being tasked not to take action. You're being tasked to look at the conditions around you and to really look and see if they're favorable, because by not taking action, you give an opportunity for an inspired thought, an inspired point of view of a situation, because this feels like justice right now. This feels like fairness. This feels like the law, and the law could very well be on your side, but it may not feel like it. And now you're being required to base something on the faith that will indeed be fostered versus power and control out of balance, because somewhere your fears are being triggered. Somewhere you don't feel safe, or you feel a sense of insecurity as a result of a potential loss. This does not always have to be in the physical world. Sometimes it's how we're looking at the future and what those potentials are. So I would offer for my Leos this week to actually look at no physical action as an opportunity to connect on a heart base, the courage to sit and say, everything in me wants to go and exterminate that, or wrestle this down, or fight with this. And I think your best line of thought is to surrender to the circumstances, and on some level potentially just step back, just don't engage, and see how the universe resolves the situation. All right. On to our Virgos. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. This is our last sign of the day. We have Venus going through the sign of Virgo right now, where she's super practical. She is much more focused on showing her love through service. And here we see the Page of Wands. This is a youthful energy. This is a energy that is inspired. I always see this cap as very mercurial, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So here I believe that as you look to the stars, there's the potential for inspired thoughts, inspired action that gives you a sense of excitement moving forward. Let's see. It might also, on some level, as your ruling planet is moving into or is in Scorpio, it could reveal a deeper way of thinking, meaning you become aware of some imprints and some patterns that you were not aware of before that have inadvertently been controlling your decisions. Virgo is another sign that is very much focused outside of itself. I'm to be of service to others. I'm to support humanity's growth and other people's growth. Here I am. I'm here to make things better for the other. So this may inadvertently be an energy that has gotten out of balance. And as you put the focus on yourself and taking care of you, you actually are serving humanity in a greater way, or serving those around you. Our first angel is Celeste. A new home or a new place of employment is in the works. We have Seraphina offering a happy change to the family. Aurora saying you're flying high right now, don't descend. And Mystique saying to keep charging ahead. Now, while Virgo rules work, and Celeste could very much be literal here, I always see Celeste as a shift in the way I'm thinking, which then supports a physical manifestation that is more aligned to what will make me happy. So Celeste is being joined by the wind fairy. That's a shift in your mind, Virgo, for sure. Seraphina is offering a pause. So there's an illumination, which then contributes to a more pleasant experience in your everyday life. Aurora is being joined by the high priestess. And this is where Virgo is becoming practical in its viewpoint of their relationship with spirit. It's no longer becoming something that's just, oh, I hope there's someone out there listening to me. Oh, I hope that the universe is really, I hope there's a God. I hope there's a higher power that is supporting me. Now it feels as if you're anchoring that in. And while other people may not necessarily jump on the bandwagon of it, I feel as if Virgo is becoming a little less shakable with it. It's sort of like, you have your viewpoint, I have mine. And as I start to operate on this platform, I'm drawing in experiences that support that connection. Because Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead, to expect miraculous solutions, because there is something for you to experience that then will not only give you a sense of support from the universe, it will also make you feel like there's a sense of protection, that this is a practical line of action, thought, of being that before, up until now, maybe didn't feel like attracts like, exactly, didn't feel practical. So here we see the shift in your mind. There's Celeste, there's the wind fairy, thoughts, analysis. The wind fairy is very Virgonian. Then we see this pause in your taking physical action, but rather allowing spirit to step in and inspire you. And here is where we see you being more and more willing to trust that while you're walking through, yes, an unknown place, you trust more and more the direction you're going, because you're aware of your thoughts. The 38 is the master, reduces down to an 11, the master number of thoughts. The 29 reduces down to an 11, the master number of thoughts. And the page is inspired thoughts. So I feel as if for my Virgos, you're starting to really root in the idea that your thoughts are things. And as you step away from the critical thoughts of being perfect, I almost said perfection, trying to stand for perfection or being perfect, you're more willing to be the naive virgin who's going down a journey of enlightenment, of awareness, of experiences that offer choices. And those choices are about your own personal happiness. So I think that that's super powerful. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. I'll be back. I will not be back next Sunday. I have been hired for an event on Saturday night, the day of the lunar eclipse. So I will be recording next week's weekly readings, because usually when I do a party, I get home and I'm too gassed up. I can't sleep for hours and hours. I'd like to think it exhausts me, but when I spend that much time commingling with spirit, I am energized and invigorated. So usually I stay up to like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'm not going to be live next week. I will be back the next week after that. But I will be recording. So thank you all for that. And again, thank you for the birthday wishes this week. It was quite a interesting solar return, I'll say that, and unexpected. Thank you so much for all your support. Sending love and light to you all. And peace out, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.